Ladies and gentlemen, some big news has hit the Rams and Matthew Stafford. A big breakthrough. We now understand the numbers now. But I'm going to give you some reactions to some NFL pundits on what they think of the situation. I hope you guys do enjoy the video. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. So obviously this is big NFL news, but this is the best one that I saw. It kind of goes into depth of what they were thinking of, what the Rams are looking for, what Matthew Stafford's looking for. This is clear and concise, so let's get into this video.
Yeah, I know anytime I do speak on the Rams and specifically on Stafford and McVay, like ears perk up, and I want everyone to listen in that those guys actually have a fine relationship. This was nothing that is between them personally. This is a money issue, and Matthew Stafford wants to be paid what he thinks he's worth. He wants to be paid more than $50 million. They've given.
So obviously Matthew Stafford, as you just heard, wants to get paid more than $50 million, which is super. I don't want to say cheap, but it's definitely a good price tag for him. He's a phenomenal quarterback. He's a Super Bowl champ. He was one throw away from getting into the NFC Championship game. I think it's a pretty fair price to ask. He's obviously old, but I think he's worth the money.
The agent, Jimmy Sexton, one of the best agents in all of football, both college football with the coaches, and of course in the NFL with coaches and players. They've given him the freedom to go seek out
no-look pass.
What might be some teams that would be of interest, and if those teams would pay him. And guess what? There are teams that are willing to pay him more than what the Rams are currently willing to pay him. The question is, does Stafford want to go to those teams? And what are those teams willing to give up? It's all very awkward because McVay's.
So obviously everybody understands the relationship between Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. We obviously got rid of Cooper Kupp this offseason as well. It's kind of a tough scenario. It feels like the Rams are kind of falling apart, just the outside world. I don't feel that way. I don't think the team and the organization feel that way. But, I think the ulterior motive here is that Matthew Stafford wants more money, and there are 100% teams that would pay for him, whether it be like a good 1 to 2 years for him. And that's what he's looking for, and I feel like he could get that if he wanted to. So kind of a tough option because I guess the Rams want a first-round pick. I think they have Jimmy Garoppolo. We can still get it done with him, but obviously kind of tough to win a championship
Stafford
with him.
may end up together, and it's just like, well, that was water under the bridge. That was business. We got to keep the emotional side separate from the business side here.
There's just throws that Jimmy don't make. Like a lot of those no-look passes. Puka Nacua could carry him to a certain extent, but not like Matthew Stafford.
And if you don't think he's one of the top 9 quarterbacks in the NFL currently, well, then you're thinking he's not worth $50 million. And that's really where we're starting that number, $50 million. Last year, the Rams borrowed money from future years to pay him a pay bump. They're not going to do it again this year. And they are currently paying him less than $50 million. So you look at the teams and you look at the options for the Rams. Say you trade him to the Steelers. Are the Steelers willing to give a first or second round pick and pay Matthew Stafford $50+ million? And is Stafford willing to go play in Pittsburgh in the cold weather? And is Kelly and the 4 girls, are they going to want to go move out to Pittsburgh? How about the Giants? They're not giving up the 3rd overall pick.
So right here he's talking about the potential teams. Obviously, number one for me is obviously the Raiders. I think the Raiders could do with another quarterback. I thought they would get Justin Fields. I thought he was a good fit for them. They ended up not getting him. The Giants, I don't see him going to the Giants. They obviously have a lot of, young guns. They have Malik Neighbors, a young squad, but a pretty good squad. I don't think Matthew Stafford lifts them to that playoff level though. Who else? The Steelers. Not a bad pick, but not a great one either. I don't think they have the weapons to go very far in the league. I think their defense is good because they had TJ Watt and they have Alex Highsmith and those names, but I don't think he'd go there either. I do think he's going to stay in LA, but obviously it's all about getting the deal done, right?
The 34th overall pick and pay him $55 million? If that's the case, does that make sense? The Raiders are an option. Who knows? You can go down the list. The issue with this year for Stafford is if they do trade Matthew Stafford, there are quarterbacks who would likely love to play for the Rams. Aaron Rodgers lives in Malibu in the offseason. You don't think he'd want to just mix it up for a discounted price and play with Sean McVay for a year? Of course he would. So who has the leverage here? Where are they going to go?
So obviously there's talks about who would replace him, and I have a couple names in mind. Peter mentioned Aaron Rodgers. I don't hate the pick. I do think that O-line's not good enough for him to stay in the pocket and rip throws. I don't think he's like that mobile. I think Matthew Stafford can still get out of the pocket. I think Sean McVay can manipulate the pocket to make it okay for him to sit in there, but I don't love the Aaron Rodgers pick for me personally. I think we could get Justin Fields. I think he's a mobile quarterback. He can get in and out of the pocket. He has a good arm on him. You saw Baker Mayfield have this resurgence, and that's the ability Sean McVay has with quarterbacks. He understands the game. He understands the level of what it needs to be played at, and he can boost people to get to that place. And I think Justin Fields has unlimited potential, and he's not getting the playing time he deserves. So he's my favorite pick.
Jimmy Garoppolo, they could pay $10 million, and McVay might think, I could win games with Garoppolo. It's a really tough, awkward situation because there is a real friendship. They have a Super Bowl championship together, and there's no real bad blood at the moment.
True.
But the longer this thing proceeds, the uglier it could get. I don't know if I can envision a world where the Rams go on without Stafford. I think everyone would love Stafford to come back, but I don't think the Rams are going to break their back to pay Matthew Stafford top dollar. And if he's okay with that, to go pursue a Super Bowl, fine. And if he's not, no shame in that. Go get them.
Yeah, and it's kind of like he's saying there, like, you know, Matthew Stafford and the Rams just sounds right. It just looks right. Him and Sean McVay, both same age type dudes. They're best friends. They understand each other really well. They understand what they want from the game, what needs to be done to win the game. I love them together. I think they're phenomenal. It's kind of like that Matthew Stafford-Cooper Kupp connection. They have that with a coach and a quarterback. But like I said, I think if they could get down to like a 2-year, $70 million, somewhere around that $35 million range, a lot of guaranteed money, maybe some signing bonuses here and there, but I don't think he leaves. I think he does stay. I think Kelly Stafford is making this a lot weirder than it needs to be. But I think the deal gets done. But that's it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.